Chris, sad news for James Bond this week.
Good news for us.
Good news for us. Good news for anyone trying to put out content before the new James Bond film, which has been delayed until November of this year. But we're going to keep trucking our way through these original Bond films. And today we're going to take a look at the third and fourth Bond films, starting with Goldfinger. Anything you want to say about Goldfinger off the top?
I enjoyed it a lot. He was a fantastic Bond villain. It was peak Bond a little bit,
This is established Bond.
It's definitely peak Austin Powers.
Parody material.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
110%. So I'll get into it. Released in 1964 with a budget of $3 million, Goldfinger had a $125 million worldwide official box office, which is just over $1 billion today.
What?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The film cracked $1 billion, baby.
Does that like rival for top gross after inflation?
Not even close.
Really?
Not even close. When you adjust for inflation, Gone with the Wind still trumps everything. This was the first James Bond movie that actually felt like a James Bond movie.
It's the model for the future.
You've got cars, you've got gadgets, you've got wit and charm. There's a villain, there's a henchman. Bond is a sex pest. It's got everything.
That's factual. He didn't have a whole lot of sex, though.
I think you'll find when we get into it, the sparse sex he did have was quite impactful. Why don't you tell us what you think the story was? What you specifically think the story was?
My belief, when I search my soul and consult my spiritual advisors, the story was Bond was sent to collect intel on Goldfinger, bungled it a little bit, got a little too close, and then kind of fixed it.
Kind of. I mean, he did save the day.
Almost accidentally, though.
What was Goldfinger's mission? He wanted to... So he had three things. He had the laser, he had the dirty bomb, and he had the knockout gas. Knock out the entire complex at Fort Knox, break into Fort Knox using the laser, irradiate the gold.
Yep.
Thus causing an economic crisis.
And inflating the value of the gold he already has.
Right.
In his estimates, tenfold.
Well, if you explode it in Fort Knox, the entire gold supply of the United States will be radioactive for 57 years.
58 to be exact.
I apologize, Goldfinger. It's an inspired deal. They get what they want, economic chaos in the West, and the value of your gold increases many times.
I conservatively estimate 10 times.
It's a genius plan.
I like gold.
I like gold. And that's where you get all the classic Austin Powers material.
Yeah, it's been fun watching like where these things come from.
Yeah, and this one in particular, it hits all the beats. You have, and Odd Job, the classic quintessential James Bond henchman.
I'd only known that, I don't even know who it was in the Austin Powers movies. That
Random Task.
Yeah. That's great. I need to watch the Austin Powers movies after we do all this.
Throws a shoe.
I can't wait to watch.
Well, surely you knew who Odd Job was.
There was something familiar about him. I mean,
we played GoldenEye on the 64.
Yeah, for an hour.
Yeah, but Odd Job's in that.
He didn't look like the same guy.
Well, yeah, everyone looks like...
I was also confused because the
the
stick was inverted.
Controls like nightmares. Everyone's a polygonal nightmare.
Yeah, there's like 6 polygons.
That's fair. All right. Well, that's fair. But still, I'm surprised that you were...
I was underaware
of Odd Job. Underaware. I'm not sure how I feel about
I don't know.
it.
There's definitely jokes to be made.
We'll pilot that and see if that's a thing that, The only reason that Bond succeeded is because he had sex with Pussy Galore. Who, can we talk about the name?
I know.
Seriously? Pussy Galore.
Come on, Ian Fleming.
That is in and of itself, like, that's a parody.
Yeah.
A lot of vagina from Austin Powers, I feel, is less on the nose.
Aren't we down the way going to watch one called Octopussy?
Yeah, and that's about a woman who has a tragic birth defect.
Why are we laughing?
She has 8 vaginas.
Poor lady.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
If he didn't have sex with Pussy Galore, she absolutely would have loaded those planes full of the knockout gas. Everyone would have died. It would have been tragic.
Let's talk about how he got to that point. So they went on a little walk on Goldfinger's farm or whatever. I guess it was a farm. So they go on a little walk, and they do that to distract Felix Leiter into thinking that Bond's on top of things. He doesn't need any help. They go into a barn there. They each judo flip each other about 6 times. Their hair does not get screwed up, and Bond gets real rapey.
He forces himself on her.
Yeah, there's like their arms are shaking a little bit from the force of her resisting.
It's unpleasant to behold. And there's, I don't know, is it in Goldmember? No. Is it in Goldfinger? Is it in Goldfinger or is it in Thunderball where he's relaxing on a poolside and he's talking to a woman and she walks away and he just slaps her ass? Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
I think that was the beginning of Goldfinger when he first meets Felix Leiter.
I guess if you're...
Because there's implied history between the two of them.
I don't think there was history between the two of them.
They hadn't just met at the pool.
I'm pretty sure they had just met at the pool.
Maybe. I don't know.
If I'm remembering the scene right, and I may not be, and I'll figure it out when I edit this, I'm pretty sure that she was just giving him a massage. I think that's just a poolside masseuse.
Oh, that could be.
That he's sexually assaulted. I just have a section in here called Remember That Bit When? And I said Bond caused the death of two sisters.
Two sisters.
Two sisters.
Both, that family is in tatters.
Jesus Christ. He took a trimmer to that family tree right quick.
Yeah, no, the first sister, Jill Masterson, she's working for Goldfinger, and Bond kind of seduced her away, and then Goldfinger killed her. Yeah.
He got her covered in gold real fast.
Well, he was knocked out.
Oh, that's right.
Odd Job knocked out Bond, and then he came to an undisclosed amount of time later.
Covered in paint.
Yep, and she died of skin suffocation.
Which is a real thing, or not a real thing.
I don't know. I laughed at it. It didn't sound real.
Oh, Odd Job's death was awesome.
Yes, it was.
That was a great death.
Actually, Goldfinger's death, I think, was even better. The fantastic CGI of him floating around the cabin.
Oh,
before he
man.
got
Wow,
sucked
that
out.
was wild. Holy moly.
I thoroughly, unironically enjoyed that.
I did too. You have to put yourself in the mindset of I'm watching this for the first time in the 60s, and it's like, it's a marvel. But if you watch it now,
It's just fun.
oh, God, goofy as hell. Oh, he's weightless. Such a large man. Just floating around.
It looks like they just had a cutout of him on a stick, and they held it in front of the screen where behind it was showing a shot of the plane, and they just shook the stick around.
I 100% guarantee that's how they did that.
Yeah.
Didn't even talk about the gadgets.
He wasn't assigned a whole lot by Q. He had the transmitting device that he planted on Goldfinger before he went to Geneva, and then there was the tracker in his shoe.
Why was one bigger and the other one smaller? Why couldn't they just give him two smaller ones? If I got that from Q, I'd be like, Q, no.
What are you doing?
Don't talk to me until I have two small magnetic ones. You have the technology.
The only other gadgets I had him using that I caught were all in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, it basically was the Aston Martin was his gadget.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the fully loaded. You had a bulletproof shield. You have a tracker in there. You've got the oil slick. You've got the smoke screen. You've got the ejector seat, which we never saw the ejector seat used.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, after they killed the other Masterson sister and took him hostage, they had him drive in between two cars, and they had a guy with a gun on him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. God, ejector seats. They should come back.
I did have one more thing for Goldfinger. You got
hard.
me fucking... Well,
I know.
I haven't fucked it up until you started fucking me up.
I put a gold member in your brain.
Yeah, don't do that.
I put a member in your brain.
So you pointed out in the last video that at the beginning of Dr. No, they're going through the cantina, and there's one dude just on all of the Molly going crazy. They had something I would consider similar at the beginning of Goldfinger, where as he's walking past the pool in Miami, there's an Olympic-level diver going off the high dive.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was him at first. I thought that was meant to be him. That guy was that's fucking impressive.
Yeah. Did like a triple Lindy.
I know.
Not at all a triple Lindy, but...
You could have said anything there. I don't follow diving at all.
It's from Back to School with...
Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, fantastic movie.
Got it.
Yeah. He basically... I'm not going to tell you. Watch the movie.
Yeah, tell me about...
What'd you
think the story was of Back to School?
He goes back to school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that guy. I thought that was meant to be him, and he just nails it. No one reacts. Poor guy.
I need to get a Scottish accent if we're going to keep doing... I don't have much time. We don't have any more Connery bonds to go.
I don't have much time. I'll be back. So, Eon continued to crank these bad boys out, which I don't know if I've brought up. This is going 62, 63, 64, and in 1965, we had Thunderball. Off a budget
Back-to-back summer blockbusters.
Back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Off a budget of $5.6 million, that was more than the previous 3 Bond films combined.
That makes sense, given the technology later used for that underwater stuff.
It shows. It does show. It grossed just over $141 million. A smash hit. A real Thunderball of a film, one might say. Ha ha, I have that written down.
Yeah, okay.
I was really tired at work while I was writing this script, and I was like, that's a good line. Reading it now, that's not a good line.
You were drunk at work.
I was drunk at work. What was the mission?
The mission in this one was to either gain intel on or completely somehow stop Spectre from nuking an American or European city.
It starts with a meeting of the minds at Spectre. Well, it doesn't start, but I mean, there is that scene.
Oh, no. The movie proper starts after the
well,
credits.
we want to talk about how it actually starts, because one of my favorite points of this film, I think, starts at the beginning of it. There's a fight between Bond and a man in drag, which is fantastic.
Who didn't lose his heels throughout the fight, except for like one for a second, but it was magically back on. This man fought in heels. The actor even did the choreography in heels.
And then makes a spectacular escape via a jetpack.
I like that once he landed 300 feet away, he packed it into the trunk of the Aston Martin before escaping.
And then has the bulletproof shield come up. So where's the shield coming from that there's room in the trunk of that Aston Martin?
Movie magic, baby.
For a jetpack, which is ginormous. Like, it's huge.
It's very large.
Like, it's giant.
All right, the movie proper, though.
The movie proper. What do you think the mission was?
It was to either gain intel or completely stop Spectre's attempt to nuke an American or European city.
This one had me real confused from the start.
Yeah.
I was worried that I wasn't going to like this film because I don't know, something about the plastic surgery, him in the rehab facility, just was real, like, it didn't grab me.
I didn't realize that was plastic surgery. I thought they just found a guy who looked like him and used the bandages to hide his face. It's really hard to understand names in these old movies. Because people say it once in an accent that I don't often hear.
And then that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah.
But I also never know who to get invested in. Because I never know who's going to die.
Yeah, there's a lot of names on my sheet here that
you just write them down, cross them off. How do you not realize that you're expendable? I mean, as soon as you steal the plane, he should have been like, they're just going to fucking kill me. Which is exactly what they did.
Well, they weren't going to. When number one called the hit in on him, he said, like, and kill this other guy for recommending him because he was unreliable.
Oh, that's right.
It was only because he asked for more money.
Don't ask for more money.
Not when you're dealing with Spectre.
I thought their ransom thing with the have Big Ben chime 8 times at 7 o'clock.
7 and 6.
Whatever. I think that was a really cool thing.
I don't think in the movie you hear it chime. It's mentioned when they're in Nassau, from, like, you've seen it from Bond's point of view, or you hear it on the radio as he walks into, like, the operation base. They're like, apparently Big Ben chimed 7 times at 6 o'clock. This was due to mechanical error that hasn't happened since an electrical storm and blah, 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 blah.
Now, here's a special announcement from the overseas service of the BBC. Big Ben actually did strike 7 times at 6 o'clock this evening. This was caused by a mechanical failure which last occurred during a violent electrical storm in 1898.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So, but what did that mean? That meant that they were going to pay the ransom.
Yep, that was an agreement to pay the ransom.
Gotcha.
And then instructions were sent after that to, this is how it's going to go down.
You know what was interesting about Largo?
Number 2.
Oh, is that why?
That's why they call him number 2?
No, I know that. Is that why Rob Lowe has an eye patch?
Yep, probably.
Oh, that's fascinating. Or Rob Lowe / the actor that plays old number 2.
I know him as number 2 better, but
he died like 2 years ago. He was also Logan in Logan's Run. He's a good actor. I liked him in a lot of stuff. Largo did a lot of hands-on work. As far as bosses go, I think I would probably want to work for Largo because he's in the field. You know, he gets it. He's with you underwater in the submersible with the bomb.
Yeah.
You know?
If anything goes wrong, he knows immediately, and he's there to help you fix it.
Exactly. He's a boss that I would feel comfortable as a henchman coming to Largo and being like, hey, I feel comfortable saying this to you because, look, you're down here with us. You get it.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
I think the first time you see his villa in the movie, he's feeding a henchman to sharks.
I wouldn't piss him off. I'd be a good henchman. I'd stay in, toe the line. Also, my complaint wasn't going to be like a big complaint. It was probably
Listen, man, we're out of milk.
Listen, Largo, I hate to be that guy, but, these wetsuits are really tight. And I don't know if you noticed, but I look like I'm made of dough. Is there any way that we can have a wetsuit that's a little looser?
Can we talk about wetsuits?
Yes, we can. Absolutely.
Legless wetsuits.
I know.
A lot of damn legless wetsuits.
I could not, for the life of me, figure out when we were watching that, I sat up on the couch and leaned forward trying to figure out what the fuck I was looking at. He was wearing trunks.
Yep.
Under the wetsuit. He had unpleasant. And then the image of what that would look like without the trunks. Also unpleasant.
Yeah. And as hairy as his legs are, like, you got to be losing some aquadynamics there.
Good night. That was bad.
And then toward the beginning, when he's in that medical facility or whatever, he's got the shortest romper you've seen in your life.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of short shorts in these old ones.
But that's just the style.
It was a fuzzy romper.
Yeah, everything's real short. And I forgot to bring it up when I was editing the first video, bouncing 2 films back real quick, if you'll allow me.
I will. I'll allow it.
Thank you. The first time you see the assassin in that film, he's being massaged by someone. He gets up and he's wearing a towel, which is, in no way is that a regular size towel. He has taken a face towel and he's used it as a regular towel. Because he's about an inch from poking out.
You assume.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, Spectre vets all their assassins thoroughly.
By peen size?
By peen size. You could be the most accomplished killer in the world. If you're not packing, you're packing your bags.
That was pretty good. Yeah. You proud of that one?
No. If I'm honest with you, I'm not. Okay, so we should talk about the underwater scenes.
Yeah, the first underwater scene kind of really super drug on until I realized, okay, this is a new technology. It was right after the pilot landed it underwater,
right. Yeah.
And they camouflaged it. They killed the guy. They took the nukes.
When I was watching the opening credits and you have all the pretty ladies swimming, you see it says underwater filming made possible by so-and-so, like this company. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, I wonder if that's going to be a big thing in this film.
Very big thing.
Very big thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, that was a new technology at the time. That must have been fucking incredible to see. When you watch it nowadays, you're like, oh my God, this is so gimmicky. They're underwater again. Half of this film is underwater. But no, put yourself in the position of, the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And it is shot really well, and I think we take that for granted.
The final underwater fight scene was pretty good. Like the first underwater scene drug on.
Yeah.
Because there was zero action.
The Royal Navy actually came to the producers of the film, and they were like, how did you get that rebreather to work? Because we've been working on that technology. How did you get yours to work? And they had to be like,
piece of plastic.
It didn't.
Yeah.
They held their breath, and they were like, fuck. It must have felt like the biggest fucking idiots.
Yeah, you got to kind of swallow some pride to go and ask movie producers, like,
yeah,
as a military like R&D guy.
Did he use every gadget that he got given?
As far as I could tell, yeah, except that underwater camera was also equipped with infrared for night vision. I don't think it was used for that.
He had the rebreather. He had
flare pistol. He had the radioactive homing pill. Underwater camera.
Yep.
Underwater camera also had a Geiger counter. Are we counting more for that?
No, the watch had a Geiger counter.
So did the camera.
Oh, okay. Well, the watch.
The jetpack. The Aston Martin, which he only used in the open.
Yeah.
Which had water jet exhaust.
Yeah. You know what I'm a big fan of? And I realized watching Goldfinger, and it was reaffirmed by watching Thunderball, and then further reaffirmed by watching the trailers for No Time to Die. I fucking love a spy car. I like Daniel Craig as Bond, but watching these films, especially these two, because you're watching Bond hit its stride with his charm and his wit and the gadgets, and there's comedy, and it doesn't necessarily take itself so seriously. The film literally opens with him fighting a guy in drag and escaping in a jetpack. That whole end fight was great. Actually, the whole end of the movie was great with the boat coming apart.
Yeah, what did they say? Eject cocoon or whatever.
Yeah, watching the clearly green screen or whatever projected
as they fight over the wheel. That was great. I punch you, now you steer, and now you punch me, and now I steer.
And they're just whipping that boat around. You've driven a boat before?
Yeah.
A boat does not turn like that.
It's not how it steers.
And it was going real fast. And I know they mention early on in the film
it can
how
do nearly 20 knots.
Yeah, and Bond's
but that's with the cocoon. Imagine without it.
No. That was without the cocoon at that point. When he is infiltrating Largo's compound at night, there's a bit where he comes out of a cellar and he flips this presumably large steel hatch open.
And it makes no sound.
It makes no sound.
Yeah, that on top of just doors closing being very loud and clearly where they add sound,
yeah,
I kind of just take that for what it is.
That one was so obvious to the point where I was watching it with my wife and she made me stop the film and she was like, wait, rewind it. That hatch made no noise. And we played it. She was like, you have to bring that up in the episode. So This is me bringing it up in the episode. And she's also very disappointed by the fact that he's wearing a toupee. Anything else we want to say about Thunderball or anything? Any final thoughts on these second two Connery Bond films?
This was the first one that didn't end on a sex scene, unless you assume that he was fucking Domino while they were hanging from a balloon from an airplane, which not entirely impossible for Bond.
Yeah, thank you.
For Bond.
He will try.
He will, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, the first of 4. I mean, there has only been, well, I guess each one has ended on a sex scene.
Yeah, 2 of them were on boats.
Yeah, weird. Bond and water.
Mm-hmm. Just keep listening here.
Keep listening.
We're going to watch the movie. We'll tell you all about it.
Unfortunately, we are going to trudge our way through some real bad movies.
I consider it fortunate. I love me some old bad movies.
But now we have time. Is that the episode?
You want to tell them where they can find us, Grant?
They can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast. We do heaps of shows. Hypothetically talks about Get Spooky. We've got a D&D podcast called Angry Bookworm Presents. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever other good podcasts are found. I want to say, and we'll see you in the next video, but that makes me sound like such a tool.
I know.